Hello, good morning and welcome. You are watching The Mining Show on Core Finance, brought to you by Blytheweigh, and I'm Charlie Gibson. Now, as you know, we like to try and bring you companies where the share price has, well, it's leapt ahead by leaps and bounds over the course of, the last 6, the last 12, whatever period we happen to pick. But anyway, there's good potential for appreciation. Well, sometimes you don't always get that share price reaction in the long term. Sometimes you get it in the short term. One of those companies that's seen a fantastic share price reaction today, the shares are up, well, certainly more than 20%, and maybe as much as 30% on their announcement this morning, is Sula. And joining me now is the Chief Executive of the company, Roger Murphy. Roger, very good morning to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. So you must be delighted with the share price reaction.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice change. I must say that it's been a tough time over the last couple of months. Our share price has been very weak, but a nice move today, up 30%, and we hope there's a lot more to go. And what we see is very good results and a lot more to come from the company.
So go on, tell us about those exploration results in Sierra Leone that have caused this.
We've announced today the results of the majority of a 5,000 metre drilling campaign that we commissioned in July. We've had some very good results, 19.1 grams in a new area called Tz4, or the southern target. We've drilled 6 holes in there now, and 4 of them have found high-grade gold.
How high grade?
Well, 19.1 grams a tonne is the highest, and we've had a couple of other assays in the teens, can't remember the number, and another hole of over 5 grams.
So, but to put that in context, that is 2/3 of an ounce a tonne.
Well, 19 grams is just 2/3, just over a half. So, at $1,300 gold, which is where we are today, that's $650 rock. It's half an ounce a tonne. So for every tonne of gold, tonne of rock you mine, you get
revenue 650. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's high revenue rock.
Yeah.
And we're finding other high grade. We've announced 7 or 8 and 9 grams in Sanama, which is where we drilled before, including some of that in oxide. So there's a lot of gold in the system, and we're very happy with these results today. We're stepping back a little bit now. We've announced today that we will undergo now a strategic review, a lot of data to analyse, to assimilate. It's complicated geology. It's Archean greenstones, which is where half the world's gold comes from, and we need to understand the structural controls better in order to know what to do and where to look next for more gold.
But this is a new area, is that right? That you were exploring upon?
We've drilled a little bit. No, we've done a bit of both. We've done Sanama, which we've known about for a year and a half, and we've had quite a lot of successful holes in there. Well over half the holes we've drilled have hit good grades. But we've stepped out into another area called the southern target, and we've found, as I announced today, just over 19 grams. We drilled there as well. But beyond that, I think it's worth saying that we've also commissioned a soil sample program to try to ground truth or validate some structural targets that we've had identified, pointing to other areas which are prospective for gold. And using a different analysis technique and lower grades, we have found that there are anomalous grades of gold in a number of these structural targets. So we're beginning to think of the areas, maybe a basket of eggs or a series of targets carrying gold, which we will start to investigate beyond the 2 that we already know about.
So in summary, you've got the southern target, which you now put some holes into, and you've got grades as high as 19 grams a tonne. And then with the soil sampling, you found some other targets, some other areas where you think that might also benefit from similar drilling.
Well, there's a lot of work to do yet before we start drilling. As we know, drilling is quite expensive, and I don't want to rule anything out, but I think there is a period to be had, certainly through the rainy season in Sierra Leone, where you wouldn't be able to drill anyway, where we will focus on desk analysis. And to that end, we will consult with third-party geologists, some real experts who found a lot of gold in Archean greenstones elsewhere in Africa, and we'll talk with them as well to help us to understand the detail of our geology. We understand the structural controls in Sanama, but I think we'd like a more regional picture to look for other targets as well.
But I guess the long-term target must be to develop a mine at some point. So before that, you're going to need a resource. So I guess would it be fair to say that is your next major target?
I think there's a combination to be had between going for a resource on Sanama or on the southern target, which is also called Tz4, and also understanding the scope of the region more. Clearly, going for a resource would require quite a lot of drilling, and we'll have to decide what to do next. For the time being, we want to understand what we've got better. So, we're not looking to raise any more money to drill for the next, certainly, be well into next year, and we want to understand what we've got already. But we'll also continue with soil sampling and regional exploration over our license area whilst we're undertaking this analysis.
So strategic review with a bit of soil sampling and regional exploration going on in the background for the next, how long? For the next year or so?
No, I think less than that, but certainly into, for the balance of this year.
For the balance of this year,
and then
okay.
we'll have, we've said in our announcement today that we will communicate our understanding of the structure and the prospectivity, which is high, of the area in the next month or so, and then we'll make another decision beyond that. But the rainy season will continue through October, and start to dry in November, and then with Christmas beyond that, any mobilization for drilling would certainly be something we would have to decide on and communicate in next year.
So, but we could reasonably expect early next year you'll come out with an announcement. This is our understanding of the structural controls of the geology, what's going on. This is how we plan to take the deposit forward.
That's
into
right.
The future.
And I think one other thing to say is, because of the nature of the team that we have, we see a number of strategic alternatives as well, and those are things we will assess in the context of what we're doing as well.
Tell us a little bit about your balance sheet. You talked about raising money, and I know you have actually raised money relatively recently, haven't you, with Riverford?
Yeah, we did a deal with Riverford, as a number of other people have done. That means we're funded for the time being. Obviously the evolution of our share price and the nature of the Riverford deal informs how much money we receive from them going forward, but I'm not anticipating the need to raise money anytime in the foreseeable future. And to that end as well, we announced today that the board has now waived all cash compensation for the foreseeable future in order to maximize the amount of money available to advance the company, because we're significant shareholders and we want to make our money through capital appreciation of the company.
So you're going to be, your remuneration for the moment anyway is going to be in shares rather than cash?
And the whole of the board the same.
And the whole of the board the same. So that will cut your cash burn to
very
low levels.
It'll cut it. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Can you put a figure on it over the next sort of 3 or 6 months?
We'll certainly cut our cash burn by several 10 or so thousand a month.
And so in the longer term, given where we are at the moment, in your wildest dreams, how do you like to see this develop?
Well, I would like to see a series of, not huge, but 3-4 significant 500,000 size resources, with a central mill, all producing, everything's high grade gold ore to a central mill. And I think, our area, Ferensola, has the potential to deliver that.
So it's a sort of string of pearls type.
Something like that.
Small pits here and there going into a central, small, large pits.
And that's what, is quite common with Archaea and greenstone belts elsewhere in the world, in Tanzania and other parts of the world.
Excellent. All right, Roger, I think that's all we've got time for, but thank you very much indeed for joining. We will look with great interest and see how the project develops over time. We wish you all the very best of luck, and please come back with that announcement in January and tell us how you are going to take it forward. Because
I hope it'll be earlier than January, but I look forward to that.
All right, well, December if you want. Excellent. And in the meanwhile, no fundraisings?
No fundraising.
No fundraising. So, okay, so it's dilution-free, as they say.
Dilution-free.
Excellent. I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we've got time for. Join us in a week's time where we'll be looking for other such companies with capital appreciation central to the hearts of the management and, of course, the investors as well. As I say, you don't always get it over the long term. Sometimes you get it over the short term. In that case, this is what we seem to have today with Sula, whose, as I say, share price is up 20% so far on that news of their exploration results in Sierra Leone. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for. I will leave you with that thought and bringing you more opportunities in a week's time. I'm Charlie Gibson, signing off for The Mining Show, brought to you by Blytheweigh on Core Finance. In the meantime, you have a very capital day.